The following video is tongue-in-cheek. I love my bike, so please don't hate on me. You dig?
Hello, welcome from Cuddington. Codger Biker here. And here's some thoughts on my new Honda. Don't get me wrong, I really like this bike. People think I've got a downer on it. I haven't, but no bike's perfect, is it? Of course, I love having all these buttons. Of course.
Of course. Of course.
Of course, not going through menus all the time. Of course, it's fantastic to have the buttons do the job for you. But maybe they could follow some sort of logical order, the same as everybody else in the world. I don't know, Honda. Do you have to put the horn above the indicators, for instance, on every freaking bike you make? And who came up with this layout? Just saying. So it's nice to have all the buttons, of course, but I just think they could be laid out a little bit more sensibly. On the positive side, you do get used to them. I've done 450 miles I think now, more or less, and my hands are instinctively falling into the right position. But it's one thing that is off-putting, and I know annoys a lot of people that are not used to this particular layout that's used on the Africa Twin and my bike as well, obviously. And another thing, of course it's lovely to have different modes. Of course, rain mode, urban, tour, and 2 user modes, and of course it's lovely the way you can just flick between them and they change on their own. Of course, that's a good thing. But maybe the bloody throttle couldn't be quite so snatchy that it feels like it's going to rip your arms off if you're in anything other than rain mode. I just find it, and I know I'm not alone on that, on the manual bike in particular, that in tour mode with full engine braking and full power, it's a little bit herky-jerky for my liking. So I set up my own user too, so of course it's handy to have user mode you can set yourself. There you go, that gets rid of it all. Just reduce the power, reduce the engine braking, and everything is smooth again. But you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe Honda, you could have sorted that out before you put the bike on the road. It is 2024 after all. Just saying. Of course, Dr. J up ahead has made improvements to his throttle, but he did it when I wasn't around, so I don't know what it was. What did you do, John?
Took the slop out of it.
So maybe that's something I could
backlash.
do. And what did you call those things? I forget what they're called now.
Oh God, I can't remember.
I can never remember them. Anti-slop for the throttle. Of course it's lovely to have a nice big screen that keeps the wind off you and you're sitting in a bubble of calm. Of course that's a marvellous thing, of course. But maybe, I don't know, Honda, maybe you could have designed it so that I don't have to get off the bike, do 4 press-ups and stand in front of the bike and haul it up and down when I want to change position. Maybe there's a better way, I don't know. Maybe some bikes can do that while you're actually sitting on it. Maybe you could have included a lever to do that, or God forbid an electric motor. Yes, it's a budget bike, but maybe it doesn't have to be quite so difficult to change the wind conditions when you're on the bike. Just saying. In the real world, I tend to just put it where it is and I don't care. But it's a consideration for future models, I would suggest. As I'm sitting now with the screen in position 5, I am completely out of the wind. There is no wind on me whatsoever. So it's a great screen in performance. I'm not sure about the looks, but when it comes to changing the setting, I just think it was a bit slapdash. That's all I'm saying, no more than that. Of course it's great to have aero. Look at my wings on the front, virtually a MotoGP bike this. Of course it's marvellous to have aero, of course, and I get no wind on my hands at all, which on a cold day like today is lovely, fantastic.
Of course.
Of course it's a good idea.
But maybe.
I don't know, they could not look like pig's ears. Literally 2 pig's ears right in front of me. And as if that wasn't bad enough, maybe they weren't designed to reflect the indicators straight into your face in the dark. They could not have been positioned any better to do that. And of course Honda has its full-time indicator running lights on, which I also don't like, so which ensures that at night you get dazzled. Of course I can stick some tape on there, and I probably would do if I was doing a lot of night riding, but I mean, who tested this? I don't know. Still, it's nice to have aero. John hasn't got aero on his Ducati.
Yes, I have, look. Go on then.
I'm just setting me modes up. Okay. Oh yes, of course it's fantastic to have cruise control, and it works really well, brilliant, particularly on the motorway or whatever, particularly if you just want to relieve your hand because your wrists are not as strong as they were when you're younger for some reason or other. Of course it's a great idea. But maybe, I don't know, maybe it could work in first, second and third on the manual bike. Is that too much to ask? For mile after mile after mile I thought this was broken because I couldn't engage it. I'm in third gear here. If I press cruise control and set it, guess what? Nothing happens, because on the manual bike it only works in 4th, 5th and 6th gear. I suppose they assume that if you're going slower than that, you don't need it. I do believe, because I did ride it, that it works in 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th on the DCT version. So I just would like to be able to set the, I don't know, if I'm going through a Welsh village at 20 miles an hour, to be able to set the cruise control at that level. To be fair to it, my car will not go below 30 miles an hour either, but yeah, it just was a little bit annoying, and I spent one day of my life thinking that I'd broken the cruise control when I hadn't. I think it only works in 4th, 5th and 6th on the manual bike. Just a thought. Of course it's fantastic to have Android Auto. Look, I've got it on now. Amazing. I don't listen to music in my helmet, I don't want to, but if I wanted to, the facility's there. I do use it for navigation. It may not show up so well in the dark screen mode that I've got at the moment, but I can see it. Also, I haven't set it for anywhere because I'm following Dr. J, and I know that we're going to another traffic jam in a minute, so I've just left it alone. But of course, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay on a motorbike, who wouldn't want that? It's amazing. It works very well. I'm lucky to have it. You don't need a sat nav. Happy days. But I don't know, but maybe, just maybe, I don't know, in the 21st century it would work without a bloody cable fastened into the dashboard all the time. Yes, I've got it working with Bluetooth with a dongle, which I had to buy, but for 50 quid more, surely Honda, you could have incorporated it into the bike and had it Bluetooth with no need for a cable. I don't understand it. I have now got it fixed in using a Bluetooth dongle, video link above, works great. Once it's set up, no issues. But I've still got to have that cable plugged into that USB socket all the time, which means I can't use it for anything else. Handy if I wanted to charge my phone, of course, I could plug the phone straight into the lead, but apart from that, I think I just prefer if it was Bluetooth all the time. Just saying. And although I may sound quite negative about my bike, I'm not. I love this bike. I love all motorbikes. But you know, I think there might be people who are thinking about getting one, and these could be things that they would like to see in the future. After all, I did moan about the fact there wasn't a red one, and they brought a red one out this year, so that's good. So maybe Honda do listen, just not in MotoGP. And on that moaning, whining note, what a beautiful house. Look at that. Codger Biker is out.
Oh look, more lights.
You rode round that poo very well.
Yeah. I didn't really want to go slip sliding away.